Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Am I on Speaker? Today we have Lexi Brumback with us.
Hello, everybody.
For those of you that don't know who she is, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm from Houston, Texas, and I was on a cheer team called Navarro Cheer, and it was my college that I went to, and there's a documentary about us on Netflix called Cheer, and it kind of blew up. It came out during the pandemic when no one was doing anything but watching Netflix, so it got really big. It won like 2 Emmys, and I got like basically overnight famous, and I had no idea that was gonna happen, but here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, I was actually, during that time, I remember watching the show, and like you were one of my favorite like characters. I was like, well, I don't want to say characters, but like main character basically.
Yeah.
You were like your life, your backstory was really interesting, and like you're like open and honest about your background and like how cheer saved your life, and I thought that was like super inspirational, and a lot of people could look up to that. So
Yeah, that was definitely one of the main things that I got feedback from whenever I was getting a bunch of like DMs from people that were starting to follow me, because I don't fit like your basic cheerleader stereotype. Like I come from a way different past, and I was always kind of like the black sheep with most cheer teams I was on. And there's a bunch of other kids out there in cheer that feel the same way, and I guess I like resonated with a bunch of them, or they resonated with me. And so I guess that's why so many people like really, fell in love with my story. And it really was awesome though, like seeing some of the things people would say, talking about how like, hearing what I've been through and how like I turned out fine, that give them hope. So I don't know, that feels really good to know that like just being myself and like speaking my truth was out there and helping people.
yeah, it's beautiful. That's amazing. So people that don't know like your backstory, do you want to kind of tell us a little bit of like how your like growing up was? I mean, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. I was basically a problem child, so I was just dealing with a lot of bad mental health. This is around the time I was in high school. I actually had went through like a really bad breakup. It was my first love.
Oh, that will do it. That will send you into a spiral.
And after like he dumped me, I kind of just started to not give a shit about anything. And so I started like, being the bad kid and hanging out with the bad kids. And obviously if you're already like going through it and then you start adding more like negativity into your life, it just makes things way worse. So I ended up dropping out of high school at 16, and I was hanging out with all these thugs and like just bad people like doing bad things, and I started to become the same way. And so I was getting into fights all the time. I was doing a bunch of sketchy things, and it was a lot of, chaos that was happening in my life because I wasn't doing anything else but just being like basically a hood rat in the streets. And it was, something I wasn't really fully conscious of, like with my actions and, the way that it was affecting the world around me. Everything kind of changed when one of the girls I fought shot my house up. And at the time, I didn't really care about myself. But whenever my mom had gotten home, because the cops were called, and because she was at work, and she came home, and like I saw the fear in her eyes, and at that point I was like, I can't take anyone that I care about down with me, because I didn't give a shit about myself, but like I still loved my family, like, and just so seeing like that pain and that like scared look just like kind of scarred me, and I was like, fuck, like I need to do something else. And so shortly after I got back into cheer, and I stopped messing with that guy and that girl that were like super toxic, and I met my coach that was my college coach, because I was an all-star at the time. I was not ever thinking I would ever go to college. And so at a competition for all-star, if y'all don't know the difference, all-star cheer is like, you're representing a gym or a program, and then college cheers, you're representing a school, and you have to be a fully enrolled student to cheer for that college. But I was only like 17 or so at the time, and I was doing all-star because I didn't have really, the wealthiest, background. So I didn't think college was really in the cards for me. And I was at a cheer competition for all-star, and Monica, who's the head coach of Navarro College cheer, saw me tumbling, and she asked my coach about me because he was alumni from Navarro. And he introduced us, and that was my first time meeting her. And then that same season, he took me to a Navarro clinic on our way to NCA, which is in Dallas, and Navarro College is in Corsicana, which is like 40 minutes south of Dallas. So we went to the clinic, and she saw me tumbling on dead mat, and I was busting out like full fulls and stuff, which is like
crazy hard, like crazy. It's like a backflip with a twist involved, but like back to back is crazy.
Yeah, and not at the time there was really no other girls doing that, and so she was like, "Do you want a scholarship? Like, do you want to come like be on this team? Like, you can be on this team. I'll give you a scholarship." And I was like, I don't have a high school diploma. And she was like, get a GED and you have a spot like on this team and a scholarship. And I was like, oh my God, like that's when I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I was
Did you
like,
already know about this team? Like, did you know what
like
Navarro was?
I really didn't really know what Navarro was, but after meeting her, I looked them up, and like they're literally one of the best teams in the entire nation for college cheer. Especially JUCO, they like dominate JUCO division every time. And so like I was watching their videos, and I was like, oh my God, this team is amazing. And in my past, I always just was cheering at like no-name gyms that like didn't really have much of a reputation. And so I wasn't used to like being on a team that was like actually had a shot at winning, because I didn't really know what winning felt like. I was just always cheering for free, because I couldn't really. Cheer's expensive. Like, it's one of the most
100%.
expensive sports you can like be a part of.
How much would you say your uniform? Like,
uniforms are usually like $400.
right.
And that's just for one. Sometimes teams do 2 uniforms, because a lot of competitions are 2 days in a row, and they'll do like a uniform day 1 and a uniform day 2. So that's like, can get pricey, and that's just the uniforms. Like with all-star cheer, it's different for college, but with all-star cheer, you have competitions like almost every weekend when comp season hits. Mm-hmm. And then, so you're not only, paying for uniforms and warm-ups and like outerwear, like, warm-up sweats and all that, whatever. You're also like paying for travel costs, hotels, food, like all of that extra stuff. And most people also have to pay for tuition to go to a gym, and like private lessons. Like, it just gets super expensive. Luckily my mom,
definitely like a wealthy person sport.
Oh my gosh,
your
yeah.
parents have to be super,
they have to be loaded. Like, cheer parents are usually loaded, and like,
it's a big commitment even for parents.
is.
Like, your
It
parents
is.
have to be involved. Like, it's a lot. And
100%.
I'm from a small town, so I was not fortunate enough to be on an all-star team, but I have family. Like, my cousin cheered for Louisville, so that's a college.
Yeah, no, that's a very well-known like cheer team as well.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with the cheer world, like Worlds, all of the above, all-star college. Like, I was never able to be a part of it, but I know like what it takes, and the commitment, the hours, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the losing teeth.
All of it.
Yeah, it's a
Broken
lot.
bones.
Yeah. Well, you luckily haven't broken anything.
I know. Like,
I don't know how.
Like, honestly, it's kind of a flex. Every person I know that's been cheering for as long as I've cheered has at least broken one thing.
Right. That's
Or like
common.
torn something. Like, I've never torn or broken anything. I don't know how. I guess my ankles are made of steel or something.
Just, like,
I think
boned.
I don't know. Like, I've always been really fortunate, and I like did a lot of backyard tumbling too. Like, that's where I learned how to bound, which is like flipping multiple times without touching the ground.
Is that on dead mat?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
But I learned how to do it in my backyard. So that's why I was so good at tumbling on dead mat, which is like.
Did you have a coach, or were you just like watching videos? and
My
like,
mom did cheer when she was younger, and so that's what I was saying earlier is my mom, fortunately, since she did cheer when she was younger, she knew a bunch of gym owners because they were cheering together back in the day. And so she would always have a friend and be like, hey, bring your kids to the gym, like, I won't charge you, all that. And so that's how I basically got into cheer, because I didn't have money to be in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so luckily that's, my situation. And then I ended up getting really good at tumbling. And so usually if teams really need your talent, they won't make you pay if they're like, oh, you're going to help us win. So
right.
yeah.
So going back to Monica, there has been some conspiracies that she's mean or like, whatever the case is. But like coming from like knowing the cheer world, like a coach is hard on you because they want the best for you. They want you to thrive. And it's like they encourage you in like the best way. And it's not like mean, but you were saying she saved your life. Like
she did.
Yeah.
Honestly, like before Monica and just before Navarro in general, my like way of dealing with authority was so toxic. Like I was, like I said, like a hood rat, piece of shit, crazy, psychotic person. And so like a lot of my coaches that I had, well, no, they were assholes, but I was at a point in my life to where like if someone was an asshole to me, like I had to be an asshole back. And it wasn't until later that I learned that's not how you go about things. It's better to just...
It's like you have all this pent up anger and you're like, I don't know how to release it. Yeah.
And I was so young though. Like I don't really like... I'm not mad at myself for being the way I was. I have understanding for like where I was mentally at the time. But it's just like, I was very impulsive and angry, and like I was harboring a lot of rage inside of me during this period of my life. And so I would always, get in fights with my coaches. I would get in fights with my mom. I would get in fights with pretty much everyone that like tried to like, stand up to me.
I will say, being younger and like, I feel like it's so much harder as like a female who's young. Like you have all these like new hormones and like you don't know what to do with it, and especially if like, let's say, well, because obviously my dad wasn't the best dad, and a lot of females who
my dad wasn't really around, like, so yeah, I get that completely.
Like we relate for sure on that.
And a lot of it like caused like insecurity problems and like needing male validation, and like it just was so toxic. It wasn't until I got to Navarro and I met Monica, and she was such like a strong, like powerful, like intimidating energy, but she also resonates like I'm mother. And so like all I ever wanted to do was just like make her proud, and I never wanted to impress her. I never wanted to disappoint her. And it was just like very different because I guess I knew like the legacy of Navarro College cheer that she had built herself, and all of the years of success. Like she's been coaching that team for longer than I've been alive, and she has enough national championship rings to cover all of her fingers and all of her toes.
That's cool.
Like she's got a belt on her, like, and I've never had a coach like that in my life. And so it was like, oh my gosh, wow, like she's really that girl. Like I need to make her proud. And I never once wanted to be on her bad side. But she's just like so like caring, and like she always would be there for her athletes on and off the mat. Like if you were struggling or failing in any classes, like she would pull you to the side and like tutor you, and like she was just always there. Like if you were going through something in your life, like you could text her at 3 a.m. and she would be like, I'm here for you, like whatever it was. And she was just like honestly such an amazing person in my life. She taught me so much about being responsible, about being punctual. I was always late to everything until I met Monica. It was the first and last time she ever yelled at me. It was for our first camp. And I ran late because I never really thought it was that deep, because in the past, like none of my coaches really cared that much about being late. Like they would be like, yeah, you're late, but like they wouldn't really like go off on you.
There was no like repercussions.
Yeah, but like Monica has an alter ego called Annette. And
oh God,
and that
sounds scary.
That's when she's really ticked off, like if you really did some shit. And I got late to the camp and I was already like, oh shit. And then she literally runs at me in heels. And she starts screaming at me for being late. And I was like, oh my God, like want to kill myself.
I want to die. Like, especially when somebody you look up to is like so disappointed.
I just wanted to I wanted praise from her, but like, you know, I knew I fucked up obviously by being late. So like, this was the first time I ever seen her mad, and I was like, oh fuck. Note, I was never late another time ever after that, and it was so different from like just me. Like any of my friends or anyone in my family knows that I'm always the last person to show up to anything, but that situation, I was like, okay, look, I'm never gonna be late again. I'm sorry, I fucked up. I know, like I'll be better. I'll be better.
Yeah, no, that's so funny.
And just like with a bunch of things, like, you know, there's a bunch of times I was like struggling with something mentally, and like she would like, you know, pull me to the side and like talk to me about it, and like she just really cared so much about her athletes, and it really showed. So the fact that, you know, there's people that have, you know, gotten their own differences from, you know, their experience with Navarro Cheer and have gone online to like slander the program or slander Monica is just like so infuriating to me, because she's like, that's like seeing someone talk crap about your mom on Twitter. Like, that's basically what it felt like when I was seeing like those allegations of her like being abusive and stuff. I was like, she is literally like the kindest human alive. Like, why would you do that to someone? But like, also, I understand that people do that stuff when they're struggling with mental health, because I've been there before.
And you just want to take out everything on.
Yeah, you just want to let
thing and you're like, oh, that sounds about right. But
yeah, because you're just so tied up in how you feel emotionally, and you're not thinking of like the ripple effect this is going to have on not just one person but many, because like so many people, not including like including me, but like there's so many people outside of me that have had their lives changed personally by Monica Aldama. And so I don't know, a lot of people were mad about it. I know I'm not the only one.
I bet. Like, who were you closest with on the team, would you say? Well, I'm going to guess. Is it Dylan, or did that not happen until after?
So my last year at Navarro was when me and Dylan got closest. And then we've been like best friends ever since. But
I can see why you guys are best friends. You guys are so fun. The first time I met them, this is when I used to drink. We had the time of our lives. Like,
yeah, we did.
It was so great. I love him. He's a hoot. But yeah.
Yeah, no, he's literally like, I always tell him, like, out of everyone that I fucking know, like, you're the funniest person. Like, I will be crying, laughing, like, every time we're hanging out and like just talking our shit. Like, he's just like so fucking funny, and like we just have the same humor. And we're just psychotic together. He's a Scorpio, and I don't know if y'all know much about astrology, but Scorpios are usually psychopaths. But like
in a good way.
But like, yeah, like every Scorpio I know is crazy, but like in their own special fun way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of my best friends are Scorpios, by the way. I'm
magnet.
a Scorpio magnet, 100%. One of my other close friends was my roommates, because we had to stay in the dorms our rookie years, and my roommates were Jade Withrow and Summer Wilkinson. And we were like called the Three Musketeers because we would go everywhere together. And another close friend was Zach LaBelle and Daniel Flayhardy. I had tons of friends on the team. At the first semester, I was more like standoffish because I didn't know anyone. I was shy, and I knew like usually in my past, like cheerleaders didn't really relate to me. So like I never really had like cheer friends that were really close. Like I had people that I would have fun with at practice and stuff, but I never had like anyone that I could call like my best friend or anything. I mean, I did have one good friend from All-Star, and it's my best friend still to this day, Sailor. Sailor and Dylan are like my best friends currently. But Sailor was the only cheer friend that I ever had, like, and I've been cheering for like since 2006. And so yeah, like most of my cheer career, like I didn't really make friends, so I wasn't expecting to. But like being on Navarro, like I don't know, everyone was like family at that program because they keep, you know, the traditions so alive there. If like, you know, there's bigs and littles, and if for y'all that don't know what that is, like bigs are basically like your big brother or big sister, and it's the veteran class or the third years that will like, you know, adopt a rookie, and the rookie is the little brother or little sister or whatever. So it's like, you know, it's very much like a family, and everyone's supposed to look out for each other and all that. So yeah, it was a lot different than any kind of like structure, team structure that I've had before. And I ended up getting like really close with so many people on the team.
So there's some people that I can think of. Like, do you still talk to Gabby?
Oh yeah, me and Gabby were good friends too. She was so cool, and she's just a really chill person. She is also another one of the victims of the public shaming that has gone on since Navarro.
So what was
got
the
famous.
guy that like decided to blow all this up? What was his name?
Ladarius.
Yes. So he
he had some
slandered.
differences with
Right.
some of the people on Navarro, and at the time he was just like going through a lot mentally, so he took everything to social media, which I feel like is never the right way to do things. Like if you have a problem with someone, in my opinion, you should talk to them one-on-one.
Right.
Because when you take it online, you're like asking for an audience, and it's just like you just want to give a show.
Right. And
it's just,
everybody's
like,
giving their input and they don't know you guys.
And then like especially with social media, like someone can make a claim about something and then people will believe it whether there's receipts or not. Like people were so quick to believe Monica's an abuser. People were so quick to believe Gabby is racist. Like just because of, what things were said and like how much, influence Ladarius had on like his followers from the show and all of that. Like, people are so quick to believe anything that's put out there. And
but
it's
you could probably say there's a big group of you that can say that is incorrect. All those statements are false.
Of course. And it's just really sad to see like people you care about have their reputation slandered over just bullshit that like isn't even factual.
Right.
And so yeah, it was really sad. And I wish it wasn't like that, but I guess everything happens for a reason. And maybe it's because they, needed to learn something about not caring what other people think. Because everyone that knows them personally knows that they're good people.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I guess that's all that really matters. It still sucks to have like the whole world calling you names all the time, sending you death threats, whatever it is. But like, I guess, at the end of the day, the only opinions that matter are the people that you genuinely care about and have your best intentions.
So yeah, it's really sad when like people can take some information because like when you're younger, you can post stuff on social media or do things because you're uneducated or like unaware.
You're not fully conscious
right.
of, the actual like effect that your actions will have on everything.
Yes, and there are some people out there that are awful and do things like that, but it's just crazy that like all the things that come out and like people just need to know like, okay, look at the facts. Does this person really seem that way, or is it just somebody's pissed off and saying all this shit?
I'm the type of person like someone can tell me something about someone, but I still want to make my own opinion when I meet them. Yeah. Like I'm not going to take other people's words for granted every time. Like I have really good intuition, and so I'd rather just see for myself cuz I'm really good at picking things out. And so a lot of people aren't like that though. They just read something and then they don't think it's facts. Yeah. That's an unfortunate thing about a lot of people.
Right. So going back to, you were saying like toxic relationships. When was like you're not dating anybody currently?
No. About a year ago now, got out of a 6-year long relationship. We started dating whenever I was a rookie at Navarro. And so I was like 18. That was in 2018. And we broke up last year. At the end of like 2023, and it was probably the hardest breakup I've ever gone through. It was also my longest relationship. Like we were together for over 6 years, and it was just really hard because we didn't break up because of cheating or lying or abuse. It was solely just bad mental health and like all of the stresses of finances and stuff, because like we were on our own, like trying to pay for our own apartment, trying to pay for my own car and bills and food, and we had pets, so you got to pay for that if they have health issues. This is just like a lot of our issues were like financial ones, and then we would get stressed out and like take it out on each other, and then like a lot of it was like unresolved trauma getting projected onto each other and like just a bunch of shit like that. And in my past, every relationship that I've gone through ended on such a bad note that it was so easy to walk away, because it's like, man, fuck this person. Like, they don't give a shit about me. They literally either cheated on me or they abused me or whatever it was. So it's so easy to walk away. But whenever it's someone that, like, you know would die for you, and you know you would die for them, and like you love each other so fucking much, but it's like sometimes love isn't enough.